anti-establishment fervour found its expression in Punt, whose showcase was the outrageous clothes shop run by Malcolm McLaren and Vivien Westwood.
That was the exciting thing, was discovering Malcolm and Vivien's shop. Sort of walked the length of the King's Road and found this extraordinary shop. I became obsessed with the place. I remember one day I went to the shop and Malcolm was literally on his hands and knees in the doorway, painting the door frame. And I can remember he looked up at me and he said, I've got this new band. I said, oh yeah, what are they called? And he said, they're called the Sex Pistols. And I just nearly died when I heard that name for the first time. I just said, oh, Jesus, God almighty. That's the most amazing name I've ever heard. It's just, what was that? You know, makes you think. I mean, it's extreme. That's what I thought. It sounded extreme. It's like the royal family. The corgis being carried off aeroplanes. You get to do that if you're the Queen. Have little dogs carried by somebody else off in an aeroplane. That's about as wild as it can get. It's extreme, and that's what's great. It's extreme. Christ, Jubilee. Well, you know, it had its purpose. It says that the Sex Pistols could play their own song called God Save the Queen on a boat on the river. And it's sort of a platform that matched the other events of the day.
Ever get the feeling you've been trapped?
The whole romantic notion of that. You put them on a boat and they become pirates. And that was sort of its own form of anarchy. It's almost like saying, you can't touch us, we're a free spirit. And it's almost like we've invented a country for that moment, you know, for that moment. You can't touch us, which of course, the opposite happened. Yeah, you're nicked, sonny. The river police turned up. I'd never met them before.
The reason you're here is because it's the Sex Pistols. If it wasn't the Sex Pistols, there'd be no interest in this boat.
I saw Vivien being dragged down the gangplank by her hair backwards, and she was effing and blinding. And then I remember seeing Malcolm being grabbed hold of by 4 policemen, each holding a limb. I just saw red, and I ran forward. And in the process managed to knock a policeman's helmet off, and that's worse than anything, isn't it? Immediately, off you go. So I was thrown into the police van. My girlfriend stupidly and foolishly got in the van because I had the keys and everything to her flat, and she ended up being arrested too. And we got to Bow Street, charged and put into cells. Spent the night there. Somebody had been to the toilet on the blanket, shit on the blanket, dry, you know, been there for a while. I could hear women screaming. I think there was some drunk lady and she was screaming. That was actually one of the most horrible things, was this screaming all night long. Boy, was I happy when they opened the door in the morning. I recently begun to think that the whole thing was a plot and a ploy, and we were just pawns in the game, and that the hope was that we'd all end up in prison, and it'd be more press, and another record company would sign the band up and give them a load more money, and they'd go off and work another scam. I don't think any of the band were arrested. How they escaped, I don't know. Whisked off in limos, I imagine, to the next round.